Yep, we're reviewing this. Alright. Hello, everyone. This is Floxcat, and welcome to another review. Where today we're reviewing Sonic All-Star Racing Transform for the 3DS. And it's kind of interesting because as the time of recording of this review and also releasing of a review, Nintendo just announced that all 3DS games on the eShop will disappear, like Phantom Snap. So yeah, this is probably going to be the valid review. So yeah, like there will be no longer the ability to get this game um unless you easily luckily get the cartridge for it, which I think it does have a cartridge. But anyways, yeah, today we're going to review Sonic All-Star Racing Transform, and there's a very much an interesting thing. Hold on, let me move this up. There we go. So let's go ahead and get started on, well, what is Sonic All-Star Racing to begin with? And we need to talk about one genre that has been blowing up, especially recently, surprisingly. And that is the Mario Kart genre, or the kart racing genre. Now, for those who do not know, the kart racing genre was mainly started by Super Mario, where, there's a lot of Super Mario things, aka started by Nintendo, and thanks to the success of Mario Kart, there's also going to be imitators who, try to rip off the formula. Some good, some eh. And I say rip off, but even though is a little bit undertoned because in actuality, there is no true copyright towards kart racing, so it's any free game as long as you make sure to not truly base it off the other person and stuff. And here's the interesting thing. Probably one that comes way close, especially when you consider the original, was Sonic All-Star Racing. For those who do not know, Sonic All-Star Racing started back at the Wii with the first game. And technically the first and only game, and then the second one, so there's only two games in this genre. I know what you're thinking, what about Sonic Racing itself and the recent Sonic Team Racing? That doesn't fully count, even though I understand the whole saying, because they're technically almost the same, but there is a big difference. And at the time beforehand, Sonic did have its own racing game known as Sonic R, but Sonic All-Star Racing is practically when you combine the Mario Kart genre mix with a bit of Super Smash Bros. And I mean a tiny bit of Smash Bros. Because technically speaking, the Sega All-Stars has been around for a while, including even a tennis game, which I'm going to have to do a little bit of a review on that because I actually do have it, and it actually sucks. But I have to play more to make sure if it doesn't fully suck. I'm giving it the best that I can. But what's actually interesting is Sonic All-Star Racing, for those who do not know, doesn't evolve around Sonic characters. Well, it does, but it also doesn't just have them. It has a bunch of other characters from of course, Sega as well, like Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, was it called Channel 5, that game? With Lala? I don't know. Yeah, I might be a little bit a fan of Sega, but I'm mostly a fan of Nintendo, so I barely know things. And of course, even obscure games like Q Rocket with the first game. And to be honest, I was even going to hold a delay a little bit, because while I do have the DS version of Sega All Stars, I wish I could get the Wii version, because I missed that version. And I would even argue that version was even better than Mario Kart in general. Like, I'm not a big fan of kart racing to begin with. Doesn't mean I suck at them. I actually do enjoy a little bit of it. But sometimes it gets unfair and stuff. And Sonic All-Star Racing, to my opinion, was kind of the best out of the two. And obviously, we all know why Sega did this. It was cash in on Nintendo's success with the Mario Kart, especially during the time when the Wii was booming up. And again, I wish I could have to do a review of that, but instead I decided to mostly point my review towards Sonic and All-Star Racing Transform, which makes sense because this game came out at around the same time, 2012, at the same time as frickin' Mario Kart 7. And the reason why is pretty simple. To literally try to upgrade but also copy the success of Mario Kart 7, considering both it and 7 introduced the new mechanic that basically later on many kart racers until Mario Kart 8 will copy. Like, I am not joking. I even have a Hello Kitty racing game that basically is like a grounded version of this game. I might actually have to do a review on how weird it is. It's super easy, but it's super weird. I have to replay that thing. But anyways, while that makes some sense, interesting, you may have noticed I said the word upgrade. This is because Sonic All-Star Racing Transform changed a little bit of a balance from Mario Kart 7. For those who are unaware, the recent update for Mario Kart 7 that also crashed into Mario Kart 8 is the new idea of your kart now going underwater and, of course, your kart literally gliding and stuff. Sonic All-Star Racing Transform changed that a little bit. And what I mean is it literally now changed your car into a fucking boat and a fucking plane. But here's the question that everyone might ask. Is the kart racing good? Especially on 3DS. Now, I will say this up front. To be honest, I don't know about the other consoles. Heck, I do kind of wish I had the Wii U version. Especially now, since that might go extinct soon, considering, how eShop. And it's not just 3DS, it's also Wii U too. But, to save some time, I bet a lot of money that the Wii U and other game console was better. Because here's the thing. If I had to really give you an option, if I really have to tell you what option you should go for, I suggest the console version rather than the handheld. And I say this nicely because, let me just say, even though I will say I'll just go ahead and give it my grade, being a B minus is probably the best. Yeah, there's a reason why I give it a B minus. Because, holy crap, it feels like this game wasn't really polished enough. Not badly, but man, it makes even the previous DS version of Sonic All-Stars, the first game, looks more cooler than this. And I think it's definitely a technical downgrade from the console version. But what is that? And even then, will newcomers, if there are any newcomers who actually did play the original, would they able to truly jump in at the chance if they able to get their hands on it? Well, we need to kind of discuss this. First off is the introduction of the characters. Now, side note, I haven't completed this game, but I have played it enough to where... Oops. Wait, nope. Oh, my bad. Okay, Wait, you can do that? Okay. My bad. Look, I'm struggling here. But anyways, I did complete it as much as I can. I haven't got to these ones yet. Especially not to me, which annoys me. And of course, these are DLC. The Alice Kid and Metal Sonic are DLC. Luckily, I got that in time. But for the most part, pretty self-explanatory. There are a little bit interesting. Also, as you may have noticed, yes, there is, of course, they did a guest thing with Diana Patrick, who is a actual real-life racer. And, of course, Ralph from Disney's Wreck-It Ralph. Now, the reason why I'm showing you that is the first problem I do kind of have a little bit is, even though I do understand it, so that's why I'm not, in very bad system with the game being that way, but to make a long story short, they did remove some of the characters, but then they later And of course, they added brand new ones from different, most recent Sega games, which is fine, but I feel like that was kind of a cop out, to be honest. And again, I want to make it clear, I get why some of them wouldn't work. QQ's, which is literally my favorite, and I do got a new favorite here, which is, of course, what was he called? I think it was his name, not Alex, the pirate dude. He's actually pretty good. I actually love using him a lot. Not only his style, but the stats, which we'll get into in a bit. Although that's also a little bit of a negative on my end, a little bit, but we'll get to that in a bit. But I understand because the QQ's own rocket cannot do that unless they probably can put some effort. And I know Oompa Oompa won't even do that. He's basically his own self. So unless there's actually power up in the Fantasy Zone games, and I understand completely. So I pretty understand why some of them wouldn't work, especially when you truly think about it. But it does kind of suck because some of those game characters, many people didn't know. Like QQ Rocket. Like, that's actually how I was introduced to QQ Rocket from the very first Sonic All-Star Racing game. So it was pretty cool. And some of the new ones, though, I mean, again, I'm okay with some of the new ones, especially what they added in. Some of them many people may not know. So, now, and don't get me wrong, I think it's a good cast of characters. That's just my own opinion. I do agree it's a good cast of characters. I do wish they brought back some of the characters, but again, I understand completely. So that's not even a negative. That just means the same. However, there are some negatives, and the first negative is the fact that once again, just like the previous game, and I do remember this, just like the previous games, when you choose your character, it's going to be a little bit toughy because the balancing. So for those who do not know, and this ain't just that, but literally even in Mario Kart, there's a system where you have to balance out what car you're going to choose to balance what type of race you're going to deal with. And it's actually kind of okay. It's fine. I mean, for example, in some kart or even racing games, it makes sense. I mean, for example, let's say Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, which, yeah, I actually did play it back when I was young. You know, it makes sense. Like, the freaking super special color car goes super fast. And, yeah, I literally played it for a lot to get some cool cars, actually. And I was introduced to some cool cars. But that makes sense because it's a car and da-da-da. And Mario Kart itself is pretty cool because, yeah, despite that, it also somewhat balances the characters well. You can still pick your favorite character. Now, why am I saying this? Well, unfortunately, freaking both All-Star Racing games decided to tax the character with the stats. That kind of, don't get anything wrong. That's fine. That's kind of fine if you don't care, and trust me, I bet you probably don't, which is totally okay with me. But that's kind of sucky because now you gotta literally choose a character you don't want to pick if you want to win a specific race. And even then, for example, the reason why I like the character I pick is not only because he is kind of cool looking, but the reason why I picked him is because he goes a little bit fast. But even then, he goes way too fast and stuff. And I get there's probably some balancing and stuff. But that's actually, and I think it is in both games, of course. I mean, obviously. But really, it really was weird to say the least. I don't know why racers do that. It's not just Sonic. I don't know why. Again, that's a negative on me. I don't know if you guys care about it, but I still feel like that's important to say the least. Next up, we'll talk about the two major modes. And before you ask, yes, there's other modes, but I'm going to talk about the two major ones. It's what you expect. I'm not going to go into too much details. And the first one is, of course, the, World Tour. Sorry. That gives you at least, and pretty much is literally 5 worlds to go through. And seriously, it's not that bad. Hold on, let me just... Really? What the hell? Why is it not going down? Okay, there we go. Here we go. The last two. I don't know why it didn't went down. Okay. I don't know. But anyways, the World Tour is basically kind of like a story mode without the story. You just play through a couple of special races, and each races is, to say the least, they're okay. Like some are just special races, normal races with requirements. Like, oh, it's a race, but now you got to use the snowball items. I haven't even got to the items yet, and then there's like the freaking time stamp, which obviously is a little bit tough to say the least, especially with this system, and I'll get to that later. And then we also get to try to make it to the gates, which is okay. Now you might be wondering, Foxcat, why am I talking about the World Tour? Well, here's the thing. Another weird kind of meta that's different from the original All-Star Racer is the fact that you can't buy your racers now. You actually have to literally get stars from that World Tour. And of course, there's obviously extra lockable characters from different areas. I think the Me is unlockable through the Grand Picks, but I don't know. And I don't even have that one yet. I want to actually get that one. But apparently, that happens. And again, I'm not annoyed with that. I think that's a good idea, to be honest. But it does get annoying, a little bit tough. But of course, when it comes to, versatility, there is difficulty, man. If you can practice, you can get through and get the hard one. I'm glad they have that option, but still, and that is fine, to say the least. Next up is Grand Prix or Grand Prix or Priest or whatever the fuck, and it's pretty much what you expect. Oh, now it goes through. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't got through the silver ones yet. But, yeah. And it's what you say, to say the least. Hell, there's even literally... I'll get to this later when I talk about the tracks, but there's even literally a Rainbow Road type thing without the rainbow part. I'll get into it later. And it's basically what you think. It's just a 4-way race. Each time you finish, your points will be tallied by what place you're in, and da-da-da. Pretty much simple, and again, manageable. So, yeah, pretty much. So, as for the tracks themselves are very interesting. Note that there are only 4 returning tracks in this game, which is weird because you would think a freaking thing that's trying to rip off freaking Mario Kart will have more tracks. And I think there actually was an announcement that there was DLC tracks. Bruh, don't hold it to me because I don't know. Like, literally, I don't know how to even get most of the freaking DLC. Just saying. Because I guess it was canceled during the time when the Switch was out and all that. Anyways, what's uniquely interesting is, to say the least, is most of the tracks, or pretty much every one of the tracks so far, not bad. Like, literally, not even bad. And I say this literally because, most part, I did enjoy it. Like, the tracks are pretty good. Like, for example, remember that Rainbow Road thing I just jokingly mentioned? Yeah, it's not like Rainbow Road. I mean, the only thing it kept from Rainbow Road was a little bit tough, but it really well created. Like, it's literally like an arcade it's like Tron, but more lighter colors than arcade. I know that's the weirdest way. And I'm doing poor justice to the freaking thing, but trust me, it is cool. And there's a lot of cool tracks, such as not just from Sonic, but other places like the Jet Set Radio track, the burning depths. The horror monster thing. Yeah, I know. I'm blanking on these names. I need to find out what these names were, to be honest. But still, all of them are good and really colorful. I can tell it was even much more colorful on the console because I did watch a few of the consoles, so it's really good and stuff, to say the least. Even with a limitation of this, but we'll get into that in a bit. And also, as for the items is kind of a different story, to be honest. The way they handle items was a bit different than not only from the Sega All-Stars, but literally way more different than you think of Mario. They have the shield, which is actually now changed from a shield that warps around you to a freaking glove, and even worse is you can actually steal your item from your opponent. And I say worse because you don't know when they're going to pull up that glove unless you look on the bottom. Then, of course, we get to the rocket, which the firecracker, which sucks in general. It literally is kind of like the shell, but even worse. And it's even weirder because I think the firework used to been the cracker or something like that, but they changed it into a airplane, which is fine, which also makes sense, though it does come off course. They changed the cone to a pufferfish, and what's interesting is you can shoot it off, and it will crack a little bit of your opponents. But it goes off the track a little bit, especially in this version. And we'll get into that later. Then there's pretty much the snowballs, which is literally just a wasted item of you just flowing snowballs, but you can't freeze them, so it's pretty solid. Then there's something called the hot rod, where you use it and you get boosters, but it just fasts up a little bit, so. And then finally, what was it? Then there's what I call probably the worst, dumbest ways possible, and of a blue shell, which is literally the swarm. Now, don't get me wrong, blue shell is always the dumbest thing, but the swarm, I'll give credit where credit due. It is literally balanced a little bit, but the evaded swarm, holy crap. Like, for those of you who do not know, like the name suggests, you send out a bunch of bees, and your opponent must dodge them. Note, you can't actually dodge these things. And while it is good because it gives them the slowdown, when on a more skilled level, they might be able to dodge it very easily, just saying. And of course, we got some other items I might be skipping, but that is the most tame items there. But for the most part, pretty much solid. So you might be thinking, okay, Flockcat, everything sounds solid. I mean, heck, I even forgot to mention about the whole thing that at least the bonus is it doesn't flop flat with the whole character thing, because they also got some upgrades too they add to character and experience points to get them. So I guess that was a replacement for the money system. And even then, the soundtrack is pretty good. I mean, there's some misses, but really, the soundtrack is good. I literally think the soundtrack is overall good for a person. For me, definitely a little bit good. There are some misses for me, but I bet those misses will be positives for you, for sure. Like, the Burning Deaths is probably my favorite out of this thing, say the least. And, of course, it's still solid. Also, of course, Get Set Radio. So, if that's the case, then you might be wondering, Foxcat, why are you giving it a lower score? And why are you saying that the console version is much more better with the 3DS? Yeah, about that. This thing is literally, like, the best way to describe it is this is like a prequel to fucking Sun and Moon's rendering, to say the least. And that's not in a good joke way. Let me explain. Well, I actually now turn this off because I could have done you. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, whatever. You don't need to know. Anyways. Okay, let me explain. While this game is fine, you're able to get past it. The 3DS version somehow have a lot of bugs. And a lot of bugs, which I was able to get around. But those bugs will be stupid, and they're like a freaking lottery machine with a fucking jack-in-the-box. And I'm not joking with that weird-ass description, because it really is. And you might be wondering, Foxcat, what do you mean by bugs? Okay, here's the bugs that I encountered while playing this game. First off, the biggest and most annoying one that I started literally at the beginning of the game. And then for some reason it kind of fall flat. Where you land on, you're up in the air and you transfer in the water and you land on water. If you land on that water normally, you're going to literally somehow get turned backwards and stuff. And I'm not joking around. You get flipped, turned backwards, like it acts like you got crashed already. And by the way, I did find a round. Luckily, I did find a round of it, which is literally just flip up multiple times or one time, and then you go, there you go. But still, that bug shouldn't be in there. Not everyone is going to know the flips. And even worse, here's a bonus worse. The second problem glitch I found is, for some odd reason, there are some tracks, and note, not just the normal tracks that have flying or anything, I do mean actual, literally, tracks that do not make, for some reason, sometimes you will stop and be unable to do tricks for some reason. Note that it does get, it is a random chance, but that's what even worse, even crazier. And finally, even worse, probably the worst part about this is that even if you land a track on the ground, this is something that happened especially in Sombrero area. If you land, and it also happened in Billy Hatcher's area too, if you land on ground and may have accessible, you'll be stopped. Like, the game literally will force you to just stop and pause and wait for the other racers to get through. And there's even one point, for some odd reason, there was a crash on my system where I had started, once again, go back to the Grand Prix when I literally have a little bit enough characters, all-star characters, to have more data. And that is the most stupid part about that. It also crashed. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only one who get through it. And to my opinion, my theory is it might have been because of the model I'm using, even though that doesn't really justify it because, again, this came out in 2012. This model actually came out in 2012. There you go. But, like, and that's not a blemish. That's not even a good blemish, to say the least. It's not really a bad. That's just my personal thought. Because I will admit, I'll be optimistic. If I was able to get the Wii U version and play it, I'll see how much improvement that has over this. Because there is an excuse for it. And that is because, yeah, this is a 3DS. It has limitations. But like I said, even the DS of the first game didn't have these type of eliminations. Yeah, it looks a little bit junky, but what do you expect? It's a freaking DS. The 3DS is forgiven at least a little bit because it's actually more polished even this, which surprised me. But yeet. Like, and again, this is a 3DS XL, not a new Nintendo 3DS. So I don't know if they fix it for the new 3DS XL to make it run better. But still, that's what happened. So, yeah, to make a long story short, it is a good game. It's a B- for me. It's a very good game. If you have a higher statement, then that's fine. The only thing that's lacking for me to truly give a full review is that A, this is from the 3DS, which already doesn't count for the console, and B, I don't have the game for the console, the Wii U. But still, I do highly recommend it, just not the 3DS version. I recommend you try your hardest to get the console version, and not even Wii U, because I think it also was on an Xbox and a PlayStation. I forgot which one around that time, but I know. But yeah, pretty good, and I actually do wish, no matter what, I do wish that they continue that series, because all of you, even though I haven't played Sonic Team Racing, I've seen gameplay of it. It's not the same without the characters. They need to add more characters. They need to add. We have to have this. We need the All Stars from Sega to come back. I need my QQs to come back. I mean, where's my fucking QQs? What the fuck? Anyways, this has been Flockcat, and I hope you liked this review. Snapping out of here. Bye bye.